Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for sure. And it's that time of the week. It is time for They Made What into a TV series. We are looking at Halo Season 2. Episode 4 has now aired. The much anticipated Episode 4 Reach. Obviously, how Episode 3 ended with the attack starting a Reach meant that this episode was highly anticipated. Dare I say, maybe too much, because hype, right? Personal hype more than anything else, because
Mhm.
I try not to buy into hype, because I am a strong believer that if something's too hyped up, it will inevitably disappoint. So I started to wonder, oh my God, you've hyped this up so much in your head. What if it's just not very good? What if it's not really that action-packed? What if it's not got this happening? What if it's not got that happening, and so on? But then I also thought, stop being so negative, Carl.
Mhm.
You, you're like, talking about myself. I'm loving this show. And I was excited. Like, I was super excited to start this last night, to watch this when I did watch
Yeah.
this. And I thought, oh, that's so cool, because I rarely get that feeling anymore when it comes to watching stuff. Oh, I might be looking forward to watching something, whatever, but excited? Like,
Mm.
genuinely, like, oh, I can't wait. Yeah, man. And then being disappointed slightly when I saw it was 45 minutes long, and I was like, wait, this is a little shorter. No.
I was gutted, but I mean, the one thing that this episode does have, it has everything. It has the emotions, the action, the just everything in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, we should point out, obviously this entire review is spoiler based because we're talking it through. So if you haven't seen the episode yet and you don't want to know, don't watch this review just yet, because we're going to be talking about a spate of
Mm.
deaths. Like, I gave my wife, she was asleep because I was watching this at like 3 in the morning. I kept sending my wife a running commentary of my feelings as each event kept occurring,
I know.
leading to the last one where I said, I can't watch this anymore. It's killing me. Like, I can't watch this anymore.
The ending. The ending was both sad and heartbreaking, man.
We will tell you a little bit more as we get into it. As we begin with Vanek, who is visiting his pigeon friends. Hey, what's Keith done? I want to know what Keith has done that results in Vanek going, Keith.
I know. No, what a beautiful opening scene.
Yep, just to give you that humanity part of Vanek, remind you that tie it back into the animal thing at the start,
Mm.
in the first episode, and obviously it's overlooking Reach, and all seemed peaceful as the pigeons start to freak out, and then he hears the boom, 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 looks out, and the attack is occurring in the distance, and you can see it's a severe attack already, explosions everywhere, and I was
Mm.
just like, straight away, I'm like, yes, what a start,
Mm.
and I love his reaction. It's not shock. It's not fear. It's determination. Like,
Yeah,
he is a Spartan. Remember,
he's ready straight away.
he is indeed. Obviously, after our opening credits, Chief and Perez are racing through the street as explosions occur around them. Similar to what we talked about before, folks, we have a mix of CGI, which is really strong, and practical explosions.
I
People
know.
are getting flung. The amount of times people go boom, flying off in the distance. I
You know,
love that.
especially John. I mean, John himself. He gets thrown around a lot in this episode.
He does indeed. Him and Riz, to be fair. Riz also takes a bit of a kicking in this one.
Mm.
Um, Perez runs off to her family home, and separates from John, but doesn't get far, as basically her family home is bombed and blows up, and John has to drag her away. Panic begins to set in amongst the people as the attacks intensify, and he kind of then sort of zooming out as we see how much damage is being caused to Reach already. And then
Mm.
you notice the lights are beginning to go out as power fails in that area. I should the opening credits are actually after this bit, not
Yeah,
after the Panic bit. Yeah. Now, what I really like about this episode is it knows, look, we're going to give you action, but remember, we have characters to follow here. We have to deal with these people as well. So we're going to have these moments where we basically cut in between lots of little different groups here in
yeah.
different areas. Because in the cell, Soren is noticing that water's shaking and that they're hearing occasional bangs, you know? Halsey kind of wants to distract him, claiming she's glad to see him. And he's unsure of what to do. I like the fact that we never really knew what Soren wanted to do if he got his hands on Halsey. So he's quite unsure here.
Yeah, I mean, without giving too much away, but this entire episode of their interaction is brilliant.
It sets up an interesting future for Soren as well. But with a bang, the system shuts down and we see the cell in fall. I love the fact that it was just a tiny ass room.
Oh no, literally.
But the exit is there, and Soren basically just walks out here. Howard's clearly gone, so he just leaves. And it's as simple as that, separating from Halsey momentarily. John and Perez are trying to make their way back to Fleet Comm, but she's kind of struggling with the death and destruction around her and noting the fact that basically, why isn't this bothering you? Like, you're just... And he does seem to have slipped into Master Chief here, because he is very, very stoic. Almost like, this is what I've been preparing for. This is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, he's a soldier. You know, said he hasn't had the ability of facing years and years of emotions. He's only had his emotions 6 months, maybe 8 months.
He may never really be able to kind of deal with that either in the same way, because he is a Spartan nonetheless. He is augmentated, regardless of the pellet that's out of him. Do you know? And he emerged on a street that seems calm. Perez panics, trying to warn people, but met with the kind of indifference that if you did that in a normal city, a human city, that's people would be like, what's this weirdo doing? Get off me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't last long. And that's the thing about this episode. There are almost no moments of peace. Whenever anyone tries to take a moment, something inevitably happens, because a load of cloaked elites attack, because people just start going flying as the elites attack. And John, I'm like, okay, right, obviously they're going to have to run now. Nope. John just goes running and dives on one, smashes through a window, and gets into a big old fight with it. I do like that Master Chief, even without his armor, is still a powerful person. Not as strong as he could be, because he obviously, you know, the armor certainly makes a big difference, but he can still hold his own with an elite.
Yeah, I mean, it shows you his ability. It shows you that who he is and what strength he's got. Yeah.
Absolutely. Perez helps him, and they end up killing the elite. But more are coming, though. This isn't going to end. Meanwhile, Soren has basically had no choice but to follow Halsey, because he doesn't know the way out. John and Perez... Go on.
I love that scene where he's walking off and leaving, and she goes, "You're going the wrong way," and he stops it, and he's like, "Fuck's sake, she's right."
Indeed. Should note, I want to, because I always want to nail this, he doesn't swear. We do get the second F-bomb in this episode, the second one, but it's not here.
No, the face he gives is like, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's frustration. I have to rely on her again. John and Perez end up moving for a building where he reveals to her his lack of emotion. And basically, an interesting bit of dialogue, his certainty that, look, I won't die. I know I won't die. Others will, but I won't. And I was like, damn, John.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like he was saying that basically he has like ESP, basically, like he knows he can like predict the future, almost.
Right. See, I thought it was weird where he was saying it, but actually, I don't think that's what he meant. It's not I can predict the future. It's a certainty. It's a confidence. He's so strong, so powerful. He is Master Chief that there is never any doubt in his mind that he will live. He knows others will die because they're not him.
Yeah, it's funny because when they were saying about guessing
the coin. Yeah, the coin. I can see where you're coming from with that, but I don't think that's anything to do with that at all. If that would, I hope not anyway. But they end up running into an old woman in a sort of museum of weapons, many of which came from Earth. Perez tries to explain that she has to leave, but the woman refuses, which is something that John understands. Now, on the second watch, because I watched, as always, I watched this just to enjoy it. And then a second time is notes. On the second time, I thought this scene was more powerful in the second watch. In the first one, I thought, this is a little bit slowing it down, and she's a bit frustrating me, this woman. On the second watch, I thought it was really powerful. Powerful
Tell
choice
me,
of words.
tell me you saw the Easter egg because I saw it.
No, I didn't. Go on.
Okay, as John puts the typewriter up, what's below it on the shelf? You didn't see
What
it.
was it? No.
It's the original Xbox.
Oh, good
The
catch,
original, the
Damon.
original black Xbox, the big one, yeah. So I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was very clever because that's when obviously when Halo first came out on the Xbox.
Of course
Yeah,
it did.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I thought it was very clever.
No, I missed out when I finished when the show's over. I plan to watch it all the way through one big run. I
Yeah,
will
so,
definitely keep my eyes open for that. But there's a lot of good dialogue here, and it basically you might be wondering, well, why does she not run? Is it because she doesn't think there's a chance? No, it's someone that's weary of war. It's
mm,
someone that has through understanding, because she talks about wars from Earth. She
mm,
talks about fascism. She talks about Nazism. Like, and it's about like she points out that the items basically are relics, and but they're human relics. And if they're abandoned, it's really powerful. And Perez not get it, and John just going like she does, like John go, Perez is like, oh, don't you understand? The Covenant are here, the Covenant are here. And John's like, no, she does understand. That's the point. And then just like they leave.
yeah, yeah. No, so I thought it was actually quite a good scene. It was.
I thought it was too. As they walk, Halsey asks about Kessler, but naturally, Soren's like, I don't want to talk to you about my kid. I don't like you. And then we hit because at the moment, Halsey is being nice and excitable and things, but then you get reminded of the person she is.
Mm.
Because this conversation turns to her suggesting that maybe Soren didn't actually escape as a kid. Maybe he was let go. And it's just her line of, well, that's as good of a story as, that's as good of a story as anything else. I'm like, oh, you did it. Look at you, you manipulative little.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite interesting. So did she let him go, or who's telling the truth,
Yeah.
or is he so confused that he made up his own story?
Yeah, he made up his own memories.
Mm.
Absolutely. They end up finding dead Oni guards, though, meaning the Covenant are here. But Soren does get some weapons. Now, we will see in a moment where they go that we kind of knew the Covenant were already there because of a previous scene in a previous episode. But Soren does get a gun here. Whoop, whoop. To the streets where a big battle is occurring. A holdout of Marines, one that involves Riz. Riz is here, and I was like, yes, she's alive.
Yeah.
We also see Lewis is here, and we even see Danella is here as well. Lewis with a grenade launcher. I laughed. I'm glad they gave me what I wanted, which is Lewis just going boom and blowing up those elites.
I like the fact because he used to be a Spartan, so he's using his sense of smells and sounds of where they are, and obviously blind people or deaf people have more sense of a
Of
sense.
the sense, their other senses can become stronger. Yeah, I mean, I was just glad to see everyone alive, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yes, brilliant. But obviously, this battle is lost, so they start to fall back, cutting through the building where they're chased by elites, and there's some excellent close quarter battles here. Like camera moving around, close shooting, fighting, stuff like that. Really strong stuff. I enjoyed this part as well.
yeah, definitely good fighting.
Yes, but unfortunately, folks, we now have to lose the first of many. Everyone escapes out a window except Riz, who finds Danella has been killed from a plasma shot. Yeah, it's one of those where I'm like, well, you know what? We'll get to the next part and then we'll talk about this as a whole. She
Yep.
ends up throwing a grenade, jumping out the window as the building explodes. But they're not out of trouble yet, as back in the streets, they come under fire from a Wraith tank. It's here that Lewis finds out Danella has been killed. Obviously quite distraught about that. And does what I predicted. Sacrifices himself to destroy the Wraith. And like, I wrote, I'm not crying, you're crying. It's a spectacular scene. I love it because of the lack of cuts. The camera isn't cutting. It's constantly doing that thing that we saw in the first episode, Sanctuary, where it's swinging around people and keeping up with them and stuff like that. So you feel like
Yep.
you're part of the action. Look, I predicted, if you remember the review of the last episode, that we were likely to lose Lewis and Danilo. And I even said, I hope it's in this style.
Mm.
I hope it's in a sacrifice moment and like this powerful moment and stuff like that. I get that to some, it may not be big of a deal because they were only introduced a few episodes ago.
I
I
see.
get that. No, I get that point of view.
Yeah.
I do get that. However, I immediately fell in love with these characters, immediately fell in love with them and really liked them. It is the first of deaths, and if this had been it for the episode, I'd still would have been upset because I loved their characters. I loved how the relationship was portrayed, and I loved the decision of having Danilo killed so quietly, almost, and then having Lewis go out in a bit of a blaze of glory. I love the fact that they don't show us. Instead, the camera swings back around as Riz tries to stop it and then gets blasted backwards by the force of the explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found it really upsetting.
You know, one of the big things that whenever we watch a TV show or a
Yep.
film and we cover, we always talk about how we why we'd never have any emotion for who cares that this person died. We don't care.
Yep.
You introduced them 5 minutes in, but these characters, they had maybe a maximum 15-20 minutes screen time through the episode.
I'd say way less than that. I'd say more like 10
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
counting minutes.
but their 10 minutes or whatever, they they brought you attached to them. You know, their
Yep.
story, their relationship, their background, and you
Yep.
know, just the calmness they brought to Riz too was just yeah.
3 scenes. Lewis with Riz when she's suffering from pain.
Mm.
That Riz when she goes to see Danilo and he helps her to understand that power of healing your mind. And the dinner scene. That
Yep.
was what we got. And that was more than enough for me to care about these characters.
Yeah, definitely.
But to be fair, also, to be fair on a critical point of view, the deaths were very predictable as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Halsey and Soren arrive at where Cortana is being held. Halsey knew where she was, wanted to find her. And immediately I was like, well, that could link up to where other characters were in the previous episode. Cortana greets Dr. Halsey, but then tells her to run because McKee and the Arbiter are there taking Cortana. Soren and Halsey have no choice but to run, with the former dropping a grenade he took from the Oni's guards, which does one of those again. Lovely. Boom! And everybody goes flying. Halsey gets slammed here as well.
A proper, yeah.
Arriving at the HQ, the temporary HQ that they've got at Fleetcom Command, Riz surveys the dying and injured as we get one of those, oh, this is like they wanted to drop us and make us go, hey, look, it's Halo, it's CGI, and it's this and that, whatever, and it's sci-fi. But here's a scene to remind you that it's still war, and people are, it's a bit like a traditional war scene where people are lying on gurneys with missing limbs. People are burnt and hurt and crying out for help. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this is real. And it's John that brings her back to focus. He shares a wonderful Master Chief moment, and when I say that, I mean he just goes so cold with Perez before they separate. Because Perez is all like, because John's like, right, see ya. Perez is like, is that it?
I'm glad because I thought we were going to get some crappy scene. Where he's like, "Oh no, I want you to come with me. You stay with me. We're together." It was like, "No, I'm Master Chief. This is Silver Team. We've got to go."
We do a thing exactly that. He does give her a coin though. He does have a little moment where he gives her the coin that he was telling her about before and says it's for luck. And they reunite with Vanek, and I love that. I love that. And Vanek is just like, sorry for ruining your day off. I love that none of Silver Team apologize.
It's not needed
because it's not needed. Exactly.
They know. They know. They know that. They know that he was right. Not needed. Let's get out there. Kick ass.
Absolutely. And you might be wondering, where the fuck is Kai? They don't know. Now, I will at the end of the episode, I will predict Kai's path. I will predict it. Right.
I'll predict this.
But for now, right, yours better not be silly. Be serious here because it's really obvious what Kai's story is.
Mine was going to be silly. Like she's on the ship with what's his face? No. I've got an idea.
Yeah, cool. Okay, but we also find out that our armor is gone, taken by Oni when Command left, and I was like, Of course, they took all the assets, things like the Keystone. Of course, they're going to take the Spartan armor
Well, just because they're replaceable.
and they can put someone else in it, and it's fucking probably highly expensive kit. But we now see who is in command here. Jacob Keyes didn't leave, and he is here commanding the survivors. He and John talk. I love that scene. Keyes is like, oh man, I was kind of hoping you were dead, so I didn't have to listen to the I told you so bullshit.
Yep.
But they do, but it's funny, it's fun, but it's also serious because Jacob, look, he says, look, you were right, reveals the truth about Cobalt and the fact that Command basically has taken the fleet and run. The plan being, to obviously to run and fight another day, but it doesn't help them. And they realize, okay, what's going on is the Covenant are attacking the power stations because they want to take down the orbital defense grid. When the power goes, that drops, and what begins? The glassing.
Oh yeah. No, it was a good scene. So, again, there was no need for an apology. It was just like a look between each other, and then it was straight back to business.
To be fair, he does apologize. He does say, I'm sorry, because he's not a Spartan. So what's the mission? And I thought this was really cool because you're like, well, all right, the mission is we're going to try and stop the Covenant from taking over Reach. And it's like, no. The mission is to try and evacuate as many people as they can before Reach falls. So once again, it's like, look, this isn't being saved.
Nope.
Right, Halsey comes round and Soren helps her up. I love the difference again here to remind you that Soren is a Spartan. As Halsey gets up, disorientated as fuck, her ears are ringing, she's hurt, and she's basically like, oh my god, that was awful. And Soren seems fine, and he just goes, yeah, that's what a grenade will do. However, he demands to know what Halsey meant by saying she let him go. And she reveals basically that she, in so many words, she wanted John to replace him, was worried the way the others looked up to Soren, including John, and she needed John to look up to himself. So set it up so Soren could escape. He didn't escape, but he did escape, but it was made so he could escape.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So she basically saying that Soren should have been the Master Chief. Potentially.
Or at least, well, yeah, I mean, I guess so, or the leader of Silver Team, or like that's what I mean, it's hard to know. I presume we're going to get more into this in later episodes, I think.
Or is she just being a Halsey and trying to play mind games with him?
Yeah, because it clearly bothers him. Because it might suggest that he's built a life based on I escaped. If that part's a lie and you were let go, that's going to fuck with your head.
And if he was let go, why were you let go for? Was it because you wasn't good enough? Was it because of what reason did she let you go for?
Or John was better?
Or that.
Perez is surveying the destruction. And I was a bit like, right, Perez, you're going to have to get your shit together here, right? You're going to have to get it together. But she is pulled back to reality by a medic, and she does start to act, helping survivors get to transports. Okay. I wasn't too sure when this scene started how I was going to feel, because I've seen the big speeches before, the commanding officer standing in front of the Marines. Today is our Independence Day and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I've seen it all. And they don't always land, right? I love this. I love this because I love for the fact it starts off in the worst fucking speech ever. This is basically, this is our last stand and we're all gonna die. And I was like, well, cheers, boss. But in an incredible moment, and I absolutely love this, he then drags John up on stage, and John's confusion is obvious and reveals that this man is Master Chief. And you see the reaction because he realized, oh, fuck, we're used to seeing John's face.
They've never seen him.
Knows who John is.
Nope.
And this is basically a brilliant decision by Jacob, to use the fact that John is there as a symbol to inspire. If he is there without his armor, willing to die to fight for Reach so others can live, wouldn't you? He's one of us. He's one of you. He is a Spartan. You know him as Master Chief. Yet here he stands with you, armorless. Damon, I was like, give me a gun. Give me a gun. I'm gonna go kill those Covenant motherfuckers.
I thought exactly the same, but I mean, a lot of criticism I read about this show is the fact that Master Chief spends a lot of time out of his uniform, but I quite like I like the fact of that, because the fact it makes him more human. It shows him that he's not a robot. He's a human being who has extraordinary powers.
Listen, we've talked about this before. I'm past caring a lot about the criticisms. And there have been many levels like this episode. I read a review last night for the first time in a while that slammed this episode in many, many ways based off the same. And that's, that's fine. Here's the thing, folks. It's fine if that's if that's how you feel. But basically, it amounts to the same thing. Why is it different to the games? Why is it so different to the games? Why is it so different to the games? And like I've said before, I get it. I get it completely, because we've had that experience before. But because we don't have the love affair, because we don't have the depth of knowledge that others do, I can just enjoy this as a show. I hope you can too, but I also completely understand and sympathize with those who just do not like the changes.
I do, but I also got to say that it's practically impossible to do it like for the game. It's impossible.
I just say to people, when they started this, they told you exactly what it was, that it was going to be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we get another fuck here. And the line is, let's show those scaly bastards, swear number 1, they fucked with the wrong planet, swear number 2. I love that Jacob Keyes is basically the potty mouth.
Yeah, definitely.
As everyone gets ready to try and hold the Covenant back, Jacob tries to join the fight, but John points out, look, you can't die. We need good leaders. After this, we're going to need good leaders, and you must survive. Otherwise, bad leaders will end up in charge. And I was like, yeah, it's completely logical. And he does get through to Jacob. We are in all battles, in all wars, you're gonna need people to inspire at the top, and Jacob is that.
Yeah, even more now, the fact that he knows that the top bosses basically fucked them all.
Yeah, and this, because no matter what happens going forward, listen, right, okay, we've gone, right, I'm going to stop you there. Remember what we talked about in the previous episode. As bad as the situation on Reach is, it is a no-win situation.
Yep.
Cortana had predicted the fall of Reach no matter what. There is logic, and there is logic to the leaving the fight another day. You know this. So, and remember Atkinson, Atkinson clearly had more depth than the last episode. Let's not be too harsh on terrible decisions made.
It's just a shame that Kai is sitting next to him on the ship.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that. All right, they take position. Jacob agrees to go help get civilians on board as John goes to fight with the rest of Silver. They take position on the bridge to the command center with that wonderful shot of Reach burning in the background. And then, just to emphasize how shit out of luck they are, the aerial assault guns that have been powering and firing behind them run out of ammo. You're like, Right. Reunion time as Halsey and Soren make their way upwards, and Halsey and Jacob reunite. I love that Jacob is less than pleased to see Soren. That's that prior relationship, I guess. And he takes them to the upper hangar to get on a transport. Finally, we get a sort of explanation for a missing character. Now, it has occurred in my head, and I thought about mentioning it in previous episodes, but I thought, you know what? If the show isn't going to mention her, let's not either. We finally get a sort of explanation as to where the whereabouts of Miranda Keyes.
Mm-hmm.
As Halsey wants to know where she is, and Keyes basically says, I ain't going to tell you. She's not on Reach, but I'm not going to tell you.
Yep.
Halsey does reveal it. Go on.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
And she's going to be back. She's going to be back in the future. That much is clear to me.
Yeah.
Halsey reveals that the Covenant have Cortana and that McKee is alive, which Jacob, rightfully doesn't believe. The battle at the bridge begins, but the hangar has problems as well. The last transport off Reach is being loaded. I got so frustrated by these civilians. Move your asses. I know it's not about panicking, but maybe just a little bit faster, guys.
I'll be fucking panicking.
Same, because the hangar is open, so you can see Reach burning.
Hmm.
Like, and the fact that the military are saying, get in this craft and get off this planet would make me go, Reach is burning. They want me off. Oh, this isn't going to. We're not coming back, are we?
Exactly, yeah.
But Soren, here's something. And he's right, because the Covenant are here, having climbed the tower from a different perspective. And we get another excellent battle. Those poor Marines, man. They'll just get murdered here.
Again, it shows the difference in class between the Marines and a Spartan,
Spartans. Yeah,
because Spartan held his own.
absolutely. And that information that the hangar's under attack is relayed back to Silver Team, who basically are told, given permission, but almost basically, look, go and help them. We will hold them off here as best we can. You go save the people who are trying to get that transport. Silver Team head off there. Many are killed, but Jacob and everyone, as he's trying to fly the transport out, it can't fly out because the fuel lines are still engaged. He basically goes out to disengage them. Now, I'll admit this is where something I didn't expect to happen. I know people have a big problem with this. I know, but we'll get into that in a moment. He goes out, disengages the fuel line, but is surrounded by Covenant forces. He instructs Perez to take off before sacrificing himself, because by disengaging the fuel line, he's flooded the hangar with fuel, takes his pipe out, asks one of the Covenant if they've got a light, and, well, and I love that Covenant goes, like, kind of looks confused, and then sniffs.
No, yeah. So it knows.
And realizes, bollocks. And how we see this is we then quickly cut to John and Silver Team running to the hangar door. John seeing Halsey, because Halsey's been dragged out by Soren, because she's desperate to save Jacob, which I thought, remember, Halsey's a human being. She did love and care about Jacob. And then, obviously, the explosion just sends everybody, again, flying. The death of Jacob Keyes. It is wildly different. Of course, it is hugely different to what the game did, but this is not the game. Oh, that's what I think needs to be reminded again. The things I've seen of people saying, oh, well, his death in the game or his story in the game was better, and this changes it quite significantly. I don't know what to say to you. Has it not been changed enough? I think, again, this is the showrunner saying, look, we're doing our own thing, and this is what mattered to us. Now, I do think there's a fair argument to say that Jacob Keyes didn't really do much. And perhaps had he had a bit more going on in the show, other than just sort of standing around and saying things, this would be more powerful. I still think it's mighty cool. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. And I'm a big fan of last stands in shows, So I enjoyed the fuck out of it, But I do understand why some may not like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good death. Don't get me wrong, it's a good death. But I was actually quite disappointed after John giving the whole speech of "you have to survive," and then like 2 minutes later he gets killed. It's like, I was hoping that maybe Silver Team were going to burst in and just shoot all the creatures, and then he'll get in a plane, and then we'll see him later on. That's what I was hoping. But I suppose, I was disappointed by his death.
I will say this. I think they knew that there had to be consequential deaths in this episode. Like, if the only deaths we'd had were the two characters introduced in season 2, I think they could have been more open. I think it could have been open to more criticism, because you've got to believe that anybody could die. I think by name dropping Miranda in the lift, I think this Halo story, is going to have Miranda be the character that Jacob Keyes is in the game further along.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like John and Halsey looking at each other, and I love that Halsey is overcome with emotion, because obviously there's this massive hole in the hangar now, and she kind of walks to it, and looks out upon the fall of Reach. Like
Hmm.
it's not even like a couple of buildings on fire. It's just destruction. And that shot of her and Soren from behind them standing, and you just got the burning city. I was like, damn, this is good. But I also love that we never get time to drink it in, because immediately Covenant arrive. But not just any old Covenant. We got elites, and we have the Arbiter. And I was like, well, him and John have a nice long-standing relationship, don't they?
Yep.
I love the fact that as soon as John sees him as well, John's like, this guy. And the Arbiter's the same. It's like, you.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact again, it shows his ability and power. The fact that he just charges him by himself, and just like it's like, have you got a death wish?
Yes, indeed, because it is a hell of a battle, one of those close combat ones. And John does take a kick in here, but he does get to use it. He does get that boom, and I'm like, yeah. But he's useless with it. He's fucking useless with it. Well, he would be, because he kind of jumps to hit the Arbiter with it, and then one of the smaller elites shoots John with a plasma gun. And they're like, oh shit, John got shot by plasma. Now that I think's a cool touch, because it means we're going to have an injured John for a while.
Mhm.
But I also love that the Arbiter looks at the elite and is like, the fuck did you do? Basically, he's mine. What are you doing? And then just cuts that elite's head off.
I love it because it's almost like he wants to fight a fully powerful Master Chief, you know, and you've made him weak.
Well, I think it's more that he doesn't want anyone else to kill the chief. Like, think about the Covenant. The legend of the Arbiter would be enhanced by him bringing the head of the demon. John being killed by a random Covenant soldier is not as cool. It's not as powerful as the Arbiter. Imagine bringing back to the higher ups the head.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
As the Arbiter goes to kill John, McKee arrives and stops him. And we get that powerful moment of John and McKee looking at each other. Obviously, John's like, oh, yes, so you are alive then. You are there. But before this can go any further, Vanek, because Riz and Vanek have been trying to save John here, ends up grabbing one of the needlers. The needler, I think it's called a needler, because it shoots at like needles. He ends up using one of them to shoot the Arbiter, one that gets stuck in the Arbiter's chest. But the Arbiter is a powerful motherfucker. And in a death that I was even more shocked by, because I thought the episode had done its big one, the Arbiter pulls it out himself, jams it into Vanek, and it kills Vanek. Now, what I love about this death is that it is actually horrible how it's done. Whereas you had like Lewis in his sacrifice moment, Jacob with his last stand, Vanek's isn't like that. Vanek's it's done in silence. It's like a horror movie almost to a degree. The look in his face, the resulting explosion from his chest, and the fact that he just lies down dead. And I thought as well, it was like, oh, look at this is going to be talked about. A Spartan dies just like anybody else.
Mm-hmm. But for me also, it's the first time we truly got to see John proper emotional too, because he was devastated, and obviously so was Riz, because obviously I'm guessing obviously they've seen team members die, but this is Silver Team. This is like one of the main team.
This is I don't think they've seen any. I don't think this Silver Team was bred like this from birth. They've been around it. This is new to them. And you're right, it bothers John. He's distraught. And dragged off by the survivors as we see McKee and the Arbiter leave. And that's the end of the episode, which means we are going to continue on in the next one. Which surprised me, as I thought the entire episode was going to be focused, and maybe at the end we'd see them leaving and so on, that kind of thing. But I think we'll start with that in the next episode. So I think I think it was right to kill a member of Silver Team. And I think we even said it was likely to be Vanek in the previous episode. But I think part of the reason we need to do that is we need to move John away from looking at McKee and going, oh, we need John to not want revenge, but John to be Master Chief now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely. I mean,
And losing all these people he cares about will do this.
that ending though, literally where it's Vanek looking up to the sky and then you see the bird flying away. It's almost like that got him out. It's like he's free. He's been released. Yeah, that's him flying away as the bird man.
Well put. Well put. It was a great callback to the start of the episode. Yeah, this is fantastic. I enjoyed this so much that like the time flew by. There's so much going on in different scenes, but it never feels over like too fast or too slow. The jumps between action and then levity and talky moments and characters and so on. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really did.
Do you think? Because obviously, this episode here we had no mention at all of Kai, apart from obviously they said that they don't know where she is. Do you think that the episode's going to start with her witnessing the first 10 minutes of the battle?
I think how I would start episode 5 off is I would focus at Kai, and I would show what Kai was going through as she's in another part of the city battling her way to a ship. Obviously, Chief, Riz, and Halsey and Soren are getting off reach. We know this, obviously, but there are no more ships. So 100% Kai is coming with a ship she finds. I think we deal with Kai getting to that ship first. The first 10 minutes, maybe, the first 5 minutes, however long is, and I would maybe do it a bit different. I wouldn't necessarily have it Kai in the street. I'd maybe have Kai almost like a lone assassin moving through the city, killing, like fighting her way across that way to show a bit of a difference. But I think it's Kai that rescues them. And they leave Reach that way. Presumably, I can't see it going any other way.
Yeah, no, I mean, because obviously the last time we saw her, she was obviously in the office with Ackerson.
Yeah, but she's not left with him.
No. Because obviously we saw him get in the ship, so we saw our ship leave, and there's no way she would abandon her team and Reach. No way, unless she's just a power hungry, unless Ackerson said to her, "Look, I'm taking the suits. You're going to be our new Master Chief."
Stop doing this! Stop doing this! Stop! You do this with every show where you try to work out a long-term game, but you go for what is the most out of character. That was out of character for her. She's on Reach. Of course she's on Reach. Damon, how else are they leaving Reach?
Soren's wife turns up with Quan. Well, no, yeah.
I presume you're joking, right?
I mean, they're obviously on their way, but obviously I'm presuming, judging by the fact that I presume they're light years away in a different bloody thing. So
that's right. Come on, Damon. I'm going to force you to look at this sensibly. Stop doing wild predictions. Look at what the show has told you.
Yeah, but when I watch a TV show, I will have multiple predictions. Some will be out there. Some will be...
All right, fine. But tell you what, from now on, I want you to keep your insane, weird predictions to yourself because
under no impression do I think that Kai has turned a Master Chief. She was just concerned with his mental health.
Who wasn't?
It's going to be even more interesting when she bumps into Mackie again.
We have it. To me, it's so logical. They need to get off Reach. There's no other ships. The hangars broke, destroyed. John is hurt. It's over. There is no more fight. The Covenant clearly have stormed the HQ. I think we see the power fail. And that's obviously then saying the glass is going to start. And it looks like they're not going to get off. But then I think aliens. We're Ripley and Newt. And it looks like it's over. I think we get that scene and Kai then flying up with a ship. I think that's where we're going. Because, of course, there are likely to be ships that were forgotten about in different areas of the city. That's what we do. I think that's it. But I do hope we don't just jump to that. I do hope we get a little bit of, here was Kai, and let's see her Spartan fights and getting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll say again that's what I would enjoy. The first like 10 minutes of her having her fight, or her looking at the window and then seeing the sort like Vanek at the beginning and seeing the bombs hit. You know,
David, we've been quite good at actually predicting certain things. We kind of predicted Vanek's death. We predicted what would happen with Lewis. We predicted certain elements. I think this is a prediction that seems fairly obvious. However, Damon, where the hell do we go from here? That I'm struggling to work out, because I'm like, we've got 4 episodes left. Could the show's like, what now? So like, they have Katana. The Covenant have Katana. We know what we have a basic line that we know we need to get to, which is next. It becomes presumably about the Halo rings, the actual Halos themselves. But how do we get from where we are now to a Halo ring? I'm struggling to see the direction.
I mean, we haven't really been shown any more like big cities of the UNCFs, so we don't really know where they're going to go. Obviously, they can't necessarily go, okay, let's follow Mackie or whatever. John's injured. They have they've lost. They've got no tracking equipment, nothing. So,
well, I'm going to put out there what I suggested in the previous episode. After the next episode and Reach properly falls, because I presume we will see them leaving the planet and a glassing start, that kind of thing. I stand by what I said. Jump into the future, 6 months in the future, and bring us to the Pillar of Autumn. Bring us to the ship, the command ship, with Chief and it having been running battles and them trying to find the Covenant or Katana, and we continue from there, and that kind of aspect and so on. That might be, for me, the best, because at least that way as well, we can heal John up, but then we can have a John that's been, after being injured, after the events of Reach, has almost slipped back into the full Master Chief role. Because as well, that could then give us Miranda in charge, having been promoted since the events to be in charge, taking on the Jacob Keyes role as well. We could do stuff like that. I think that's what I might consider doing. But I don't know if that's what they'll do.
I mean, they've already done like the 6 months time advance thing, so they can do it again. But everyone's forgetting about I forgot her name now. The fake admiral who was pretending she was fired. Was she on a ship at Ackerson?
Parangoski. I'm going to presume. I think. I'm not sure she needs to be in it anymore. Her character story had played out in season 1. In season 2, they used her to heighten John's paranoia. If she's never seen again, who cares?
No, right? Yeah, exactly. So,
I think her just not being mentioned again and it being presumed that she died on Reach. Yeah.
That's fitting, yeah.
I think, you know what I mean? Because Ackerson is still going to be the head of ONI, the head of the Spartan program and stuff like that. But he can't lead Fleet Command. That was Jacob Keyes. Do you see what I mean? So we shall see. There's plenty more to go. It is weird, though. Like, I was like, last night, I was like, oh, we still have like half a season to go. Which is great.
I don't know what they're going to do because I mean, what's going to happen with Keyes? Is she going to be imprisoned again? Because
Halsey, you mean Halsey?
Sorry, Halsey, yes, or Halsey, yeah.
It is. I actually think the Halsey story leads her and Soren going off together. To presumably to him to find his wife and son, who are not on their way to see him. They're trying to escape the rubble, remember? And I think we branch off different stories. Halsey I can't see her going back to Fleet Command because she'd be immediately put back under arrest. We're doing lots of predictions here. Ultimately, we shall wait and see. It is a lot of fun still to it, and this episode didn't let me down.
Nope, 100% no.
There we go. What do you reckon? You got any thoughts on episode 4 of Halo Reach? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.